substantive. So let's, I'm not going to do this for too long, just because this has been such a long day in total. But let me take a few phone calls, because we had 40 out of 20 website members at 617-830-4750. If people want to start calling in now. Here we go.
Thank you for calling into the David Pakman Show.
I will hear
Please
from
do
a
not use
few people.
speakerphone. Have your
And of
question
course,
ready
please
and listen
subscribe
for
with
David
Twitch
to call out
Prime
your area
and make
code.
sure you're signing up on my website and all of that normal stuff, because that is all fantastic stuff that everybody should be doing. But we will take a few phone calls and hear from some people. 617, I'll just type it into the chat so people have it. 617 830-4750. And we'll hear from a few people just to see what's going on. Let's go first to our caller from the 480 area code. Who's calling today from 480?
What's going on? Let's go first to our caller from the 480 area
Oh, boy.
code. Who's calling today from 480? What's going on?
Hello?
Yeah, that's you.
Hello?
480, you're on.
Hello, it's me?
That's you.
Hello? 480, you're on. Hello, it's me?
That's it.
Could you maybe turn that down? Because
sorry,
that's on a
there's
really
delay
annoying
from
delay.
watching
It's crazy
online.
what's going on.
Yeah,
Oh, man. The caller's still on.
Yeah, so my question is, actually, I didn't even think I would get on, so I don't have a question. I just want to say I really enjoyed the debate, because it's so boring to watch it online or on TV.
Yeah.
And so.
All right. Very good. Thank you for the call. I really do appreciate it. Let me say thanks to Anthony Balios, who is tonight's 41st website member of the evening. Stunning evening. Can we get to 50 before the evening is out? Let's go to... let's just check in with Val, because she was shot out of a cannon in the chat earlier. Hey, Val, what's Val from Agawam? What's going on?
Hi, David. How are you doing?
Good. Quite an evening, I will say.
It is, and thank you so much for doing this. You always do a great job.
Thank you.
Did you notice that Joe actually called Bernie, sort of referred to Bernie as the president next to him at one time?
No, I didn't notice that. What was he? Did he say what did he mean? The senator or candidate next to me?
Yes, exactly. And he started to say the word president, and it was very odd.
There was a bunch of just kind of confused speech from Joe. I don't know. I mean, I kind of am feeling bad for him in a way. He just seems diminished in some sense.
I am feeling bad as well. I take no pleasure in pointing it out.
No.
It is a shame. It's really noticeable, and I don't know why more people aren't talking about it, really.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, listen, I think that we don't want to go overboard. Like, there are clearly concerns. They're not as big as the concerns have been with Trump, but it's like something seems to be going on, and it's not good. And I don't know. Now I have to say, I don't know that Bernie. I know you're a Bernie fan. I don't know that Bernie did that well tonight, and I know part of it was just his voice was diminished this evening, at least the first part of the debate. But I think he was hurt by Warren getting to go first on a bunch of rebuttals where they had very similar positions in the end.
Exactly. That's exactly it. I kept on thinking, can they just switch it up and just ask Bernie first for a change, because they went straight to her each time.
Yes, I think that they definitely Bernie would have benefited from that rebuttal order being reversed at least a little bit.
Not to mention the fact that he has done so many rallies, you could really hear it in his voice.
Yeah. His voice, something was going on with his voice. Now, depending on which polls you look at, Bernie is down 10 to Warren and Biden in one poll, but then in another, he's in second place right behind Biden. I don't really know what's going on at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I guess time will tell. But hopefully, when is the next one? October what?
October 15, 16. I think that it's back to 2 nights again.
15, 16.
Yeah.
Well, that should be interesting. We'll see what it whittles down to, I suppose.
It will be. Yep. Val, always great to hear from you.
Take care, David.
All right. We'll see you. Val from Agawam. Let's go to our caller from the 210 area code. 210 San Antonio, a very, it's like a tinderbox as an area code for us. It could be good or really, really bad.
Hello?
Yeah, 210, you're on.
Hi, David. My name is Irena. I am a very strong Castro supporter here in
Did
San
you
Antonio.
say Irena or Sirena?
Sirena, like the mermaid.
Got it.
Yes. A very strong Castro supporter. But I do understand that if you don't poll very strong, you can't make it, correct?
Right.
So how happy would you be? Because I know you've said several times that you like Castro, and I've heard you say that in your shows.
Yeah.
How would you feel if he were to become vice president, either on a Warren ticket or maybe even a Bernie ticket?
Listen, he's not the most progressive, but I really respect his depth of knowledge on the issues that are his issues. So like on policy, would he be my favorite for VP? No, but he's someone that I think is brilliant in a way that a lot of politicians these days just are not. And, I wouldn't go rioting in the streets in anger if Julian Castro ends up being vice president someday.
Una pregunta.
Una pregunta más, yes.
I was I was the one who asked you if you would ever interview Bo from the Fifth Column on the YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah. I moderate his Discord server, and I just put that question out there because a lot of people want him to do better and to get a lot of his ideas out. And I know you two aren't exactly on the same, he's, I think, farther left than you are. So I thought it'd just be a cool idea to see you guys throw ideas back and forth, which is why I asked the question.
All right. I will look into it.
Hey, awesome. Gracias, David. Hasta la vista.
Muchísimas gracias. Un placer. Okay. Ciao. All right. There it is. Sirena from the San Antonio area. I want to welcome Samuel Cedarson, which I don't know if that's a real name. It may be a reference to Sam Cedar, and Scott Spear as new members, which gets us to 43 new members, a record evening, and the people rejoiced. Let's go to Milo, who I have marked in the system as a good caller. Milo, don't let us down now.
Oh, hey, David.
Hey.
I don't know. I mean, I'm increasingly concerned about Bernie, man. He clearly did not have an incredible night tonight. Obviously he's number one choice, but if he going forward, like if he doesn't do incredible in like October,
yeah,
I definitely don't think it would be a horrible idea if maybe he could drop out, and then because I imagine, unless there's polling to disprove this, if Bernie drops out, the overwhelming majority of his supporters will just go to Warren.
No. So I've covered this in depth. I'm not going to do the entire thing now just because I did it earlier this week. But what you have to consider is that for each of these candidates, even if a plurality of their supporters would go to one candidate or another, it's still only like 20 to 25% would be a plurality. And so neither Bernie nor Warren quitting would actually put Warren or Bernie above Biden on the basis of their second choices, according to the polling I've seen. So I think that's a false notion. We want to do it. Let's do away with that notion.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess just like my general sense is like, my increasing, concern about Bernie is sort of making me wonder, like, like Warren clearly has, more like centrist support. So like, I don't know. I mean, it's more just like based on sort of like, intuition. Like I haven't seen an incredible amount of polling on it. But,
yeah, the polling just happened. I mean, this is one case where we want to look at the data and not intuition, I would say, with peace and love and total respect.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
All right, Milo, very good.
Yeah,
you will keep your good caller status. A good connection. You got right to the question. You're scoring a lot of points.
Thank you very much.
All right, Milo, we will hear from you again. Let's see who else we've got on the line. Let's go to James from Long Island, which I don't have you marked, James, as a good caller, but I do have you marked as a previous caller. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah, thanks, David. I actually got a YouTube video out of my call once, so I think that might qualify me as a
Good.
good caller.
All right. Well, we put the bad
as
ones up too, but for other reasons.
Yeah, for you converting me from my time as a conservative
to
you
were deprogrammed.
social democracy.
Very good.
Yes, I was deprogrammed, blue-pilled. So when I'm watching these debates, I have a very visceral reaction when I listen to the candidates that have no shot whatsoever at winning the nomination. And obviously it's good that in a free society that we should let anybody who wants to run.
Yes.
Like they should have that chance.
Right.
But at what point are they doing an actual damage to the discourse that will lead us to choosing the person who has the most important job in the world?
Well, we're getting there now. So, I mean, I'm pulling up the polling right now. So listen, it's like right now, Sestak and Bullock and Delaney and de Blasio and Ryan Williamson, Bennett Steyer, they're all polling under 1%, and their presence on that stage, they can't win at this point. Their presence is just sort of diffusing the conversation, and it's counterproductive. We're getting now to where, okay, based on the polling requirements, Tulsi Gabbard wasn't there. And who else wasn't there from I don't know who else. But the whole point is, I mean, there's a process, and I think at this point, if all of those people were still in the debates, it would be in great part a massive distraction from people who might actually have a shot at being the next president of the United States. So I think that's the whole point of the process, with increasingly strict guidelines for getting into the debates.
Mm-hmm. And of course, my personal biases mean that I think that anybody who's not Bernie, Warren, Buttigieg, or Yang on the stage is just a waste of time.
Well, on a polling basis, there's no justification for Biden not being there. I mean, the front runners are Biden, Bernie, and Warren.
And that's what I mean.
Yeah.
As Biden, to me, is just I don't think he's fit for the job anymore.
Right.
But of course, other people, accounting for my biases, he would absolutely deserve a shot up there. But still seeing Klobuchar up there.
Yeah, she's got to go. I mean, she's basically at the. Yeah. I don't know if she's already qualified for the fourth debate, but she should probably be gone by the fourth debate, would be my opinion.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks, David.
All right, James. Great to hear from you. Yeah, as people in the chat are saying, if we're at 43 of 20 website members, if we get to 60, I'll drop acid and call the presidential candidates, and that'll be a real party. Let's see. Let's go to a local caller. Let's go to our caller from the 617 area code. Who's calling today from 617?
Hey, David. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, indeed.
Cool. Hey, it's nice to talk to you.
Likewise.
All right. So what I was wondering is, I don't know if you've answered this before. Screw me if I'm just being if I don't know. But
yeah,
you who would you throw your support behind? Maybe it's too early for you to decide, but between me and my father, we've always been talking. It's either Warren or Bernie, because Biden has fucking brain like under desk gum. He's like I don't think he's that much of a threat. I mean, he might be when comes October, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, my politics are most aligned with Biden and with Bernie and Warren, and not with Biden. So yeah, those are the two. I'm not like endorsing someone, and a bunch of people have said I shouldn't. Right. I should just talk about who's in line with my politics. At some point, I will tell you who it is I'm voting for in the primary. But Bernie and Warren on policy are the people I'm most aligned with.
All right, cool. But you, like you said, you support. Did you say Bernie over Warren just then, or was it?
No, I didn't say. I didn't say that. I said they are the two that I'm most aligned with.
Sorry. Yeah. All right. Well, interesting enough. I'm curious to hear what you say, because I know what T.J. Kirk has to say. I know what Kyle Kalinske has to say.
Yep.
And it's like you're the one actually more to the left than they are. So go on to your next caller. I think I'm all good.
Yes, sir. All right. I will take your advice, and I will go right on to the next caller. Thank you very, very much. Let's see. We've got so many people holding. Let's see if there's any area code that catches my attention. Okay. Well, let's do one more 617 call, and then we'll get it, because this person might have thought I was going to them with the last one, and then we'll go elsewhere. The next 617 caller. You're on.
Hey, David.
Hey,
This is Adam. It's great to talk to you finally. You're
likewise.
so awesome.
Thank you.
So I was just curious. Earlier, you were talking about Andrew Yang's VAT tax and how you're not really not super supporting of that. I'm curious, like, why exactly you wouldn't be? Because from my perspective, it seems like that would be the best way to ensure that companies like Amazon, Uber, Google would have to pay their fair share. Like, doesn't seem like there would be a way around paying that.
So
Curious what you think
the
on that.
reason I don't like the VAT tax as one of the first tools I would go to is that it's relatively regressive because if you are in a poorer household, more than likely you're spending a larger portion of your income just to meet your what we would call like non-luxury consumption. And as a result, a poorer household will end up spending a larger portion of their income on a value added tax. And so even if the goal is to say, well, let's pull money from these huge corporations that often pay no taxes, then I understand why it would be appealing. But the ways that I've always seen it, I've not seen exceptions to this that I've looked at in detail, and I would be glad to, is that a VAT tax will have a regressive effect, and I am not into adding new regressive taxes.
Right, right. Well, yeah, I mean, it still seems, though, that the people who would be most affected would be those who would be paying more of a luxury tax, which it seems to be when Yang explains it, which he hasn't fully clearly yet how it exactly worked, but that it would mainly affect those who are making over a certain amount that would be buying things that,
Yeah, he's
like,
talked
it
about
wouldn't
making
affect,
some
like, food.
specific, you can do like buckets or categories of what you identify as luxury goods. But the thing is, you can just do a luxury goods tax. You don't even need to do a VAT tax more broadly if that's what you're looking to target.
Understood. I
Yeah.
really appreciate you taking my call, man. Thank you.
All right, my pleasure. Great to hear from you. Let's go next to the person who has been holding the absolute longest, and that is our caller from the 323 area code. 323, what's going on?
Hello, David, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Buenas noches, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien.
Okay, so I have a question. Well, not necessarily a question, but I want to see what your opinion on this is.
Yeah.
Let's say there's no written rules in certain states where people can run as a slate of candidates. So I want to know what your opinion is on the fact that I feel like there's nothing written in stone that says that candidates can't run as a slate. So, for example, Bernie Sanders can't, appoint, or say he's going to run with this vice president or with this attorney general, well beyond before this supposed, date that when you're allowed to, mention who you're going to run with as your vice president.
You're talking about informally, right? I mean, of course, there would be nothing formal, but you're saying nothing would stop Bernie from saying, I've already decided that I'm teaming up with so-and-so who's running for Senate or whatever, like some kind of informal thing in that way?
Right. So in that sense that you can have help on your campaign trail, in the sense that, if you form a group that's going to be, on the same side of very similar policies, then you can have help in the field, and this person can speak on like issues of like pertaining to attorney general, and then that could allow Bernie to focus on more national security or foreign country affairs. At the same time,
I think that there are, I don't know if they are written or unwritten rules about formally saying who would be your whatever before you're actually in a position to choose those people. But if you don't say that, you can certainly say, like, it could be made pretty evident who of the people that are campaigning with you would be likely to be attorney general. But, I would say, I don't really know that this matters that much. Endorsements typically don't make that big of a difference. And I don't know that what you're suggesting would really be that beneficial. I'm willing to have my mind changed, but I don't know that I see it as that beneficial.
You don't think that, like, let's say two powerhouses team up together, like, potentially like a Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, I'm sorry.
Well, but that's different. You're now talking about a running mate. And while they're both candidates, it would be weird for one to say the other's going to be their VP, because the other one would be like, hold on, I'm running for president. And then after that, I mean, relatively soon, it would be announced anyway. So I don't know that there's actually that much of a window of time to do that.
I'm thinking, like, in hindsight, like, just people from the get-go, like maybe in the next, presidential cycle or the next election cycle,
It's
people
an
can just do
interesting
that
idea.
instead,
It's an interesting idea.
see.
I just don't know that I agree with you that it would be that beneficial. Now, let's do this entire question again in Spanish.
Bueno,
no, I'm
la
kidding. I'm
pregunta
kidding. I'm
es que
kidding.
si... hey, David, thank you for taking my call. And I'm coming from here from South Los Angeles. And thank you for taking my call.
Very nice. I was out in LA not that long ago, and I went to an Indian restaurant called Badmash. Have you heard of it?
I have not.
Oh, okay. It was pretty good. It was like sort of Indian tapas. I went with there's a Twitch streamer named Stephen Destiny Bennell II. I don't know if you're familiar with him. And I had a lovely dinner with him and I guess it's his girlfriend and Hassan Piker. It was crazy. It was really a meeting of the minds.
Oh yeah, well, it's great that you're out here. I didn't know that you actually traveled out here that much.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right,
great, man.
Appreciate the call. Thank you. We'll talk again soon. Let me say thanks to Gary Hall. Gary Hall is new member number 44 of 20. A record evening. It is a magical evening this evening. Let's go next to our caller from. Let's see, where do we want to go? Let's try 212. I think is 212 New York City, if I recall correctly.
Hey, David.
Hey.
Hey, I just have a quick question about Yang and Bernie and other somewhat progressive candidates.
Yeah.
And their role in the debate. So, like, an earlier caller was talking about how it seemed like Warren always kind of got priority over Bernie.
Tonight, you mean?
And also, yeah, I mean tonight
yeah.
in the debate.
Yep.
And also, it seems like Yang never really gets that much speaking time. Do you think that this is, I guess, intentional by the media outlets? A lot of people say that, Bernie and Yang are always held back by the media and by the DNC.
Yep.
Do you think that has any role in it, or is this just like?
Well, so here's the
chance,
way
I
it
guess?
works. I mean, it's like I understand what they're doing. They're giving more time to people who are polling higher on the presumption that these are the people that the audience wants to hear from. And the problem is that it only creates a self-reinforcing feedback loop, but I understand why they're doing it. Now, Bernie typically has not been suffering in terms of the amount of time that he's been given, but tonight he seemed to. And yeah, I mean, like I've talked about this before. I understand why it's being done, and you can make the case both ways. That if you make the debate, the time should be split evenly, or you could make the case that the people who are polling better should get more time because that's who people want to hear from. But I think it's more logical that the time should be divided evenly. That being said, it's like it really doesn't make sense for Amy Klobuchar to get as much time as the top three because Amy Klobuchar has no chance. So then it becomes maybe there should just be stricter requirements to enter the debate, fewer candidates on stage, but then they all get the same amount of time.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but it just seemed so weird tonight where, like, I felt like candidates like Castro or Klobuchar were talking almost as much as, like, Bernie or something. And Bernie's doing, I think, in some polls better than Warren and even maybe better than Biden. So
I don't know that Bernie's winning in any poll, but I think that he is in second place. But yeah, I agree that tonight in particular, Bernie's speaking time was out of sync with what it has been.
Okay, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the call. Love the show.
All right. Thank you so much for calling. Appreciate it. Let me say thanks to John Wasilewski. I'm going to get this right. Wasilewski, I believe is the way that it's pronounced. And he is new member number 45. The target was 20, and we absolutely just crushed it. We crushed it like that subscribe button. Let's go next to our caller from the 516 area code.
Hey, David, this is Dan, also from New York.
Hey, Dan.
So I have kind of like a two-part question. If I don't want to take all your time, but
sure,
I'm curious on your
We'll take
answer.
plenty of it.
And I also want to preface this by saying this is in no way an attack on you, though it might seem that way.
Oh, good. All right.
But I'm a big fan, and I like your content because you are one of the few objectively speaking people, at least from what I can tell, where a lot of like progressive media are like very like Bernie, which is great because I'm a Bernie supporter too. But I also want to hear, truth and facts.
Sure.
So I notice a lot of your content is about like Donald Trump being an idiot most of the time, which, that's great. But kind of, we all know he's an idiot.
Right.
Right. So do you think it would be more beneficial to use your platform to educate your audience on like the major differences between like someone like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren? Because I noticed
Oh,
that like,
sorry.
even
I'm
from
all of a
polling, while
sudden
I've been
having
a
a
vote.
very hard time hearing you. Oh, no, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, listen, this is a perfectly reasonable question. So I've dealt with this before. Here's the thing. We exist in a universe where we're competing for people's attention. There's a limited amount of time that people are going to spend watching shows. And so when I think of what we're doing in a day, what I'm trying to do is I want to try to create a balance of stuff that will do well so we can grow the audience and get attention and subscribers and all of this stuff, which may not be the most substantive stuff in terms of like what is going to make a difference in the next 10 years in my life. And then use the audience that we pull in with that to get them into the more substantive stuff, right? How should we be regulating businesses, and what are the substantive differences on foreign policy between candidates like you're talking about? So it's a calculation, and there's no question that the Trump stuff is low-hanging fruit, and we use it in order to bring people in who have never heard of the show. And then the idea is then they're in our universe, and then we give them other stuff, like our long-form pieces or interviews or whatever else. That's the idea. And we could definitely say, you know what? We're only going to do the deep stuff. But then the audience would be significantly smaller. So we'd be doing deep stuff, but for a much smaller audience and reaching fewer people. So it's just a calculus that everybody has to make.
Okay, that's fair. And piggybacking off of that for my second question, between Warren and Sanders, I know you say like ideologically you align a lot with Bernie.
Yep.
But I don't see a lot of progressive media outlets, aside from a few, like criticizing Warren for some clear non-progressive things that she's done, like voting on Trump's, military budget, the fact that she didn't support Bernie in 2016, given a choice.
Yep.
And just, recently saying she's okay with taking corporate money. Like, why aren't people talking about that? Like, she seems like a half measure to me. Where Bernie's
I don't know that it's a half measure. I think she's like an 85% measure, maybe more accurate. And I don't know who you're talking about that isn't talking about that stuff, but I've been talking about that stuff since the very beginning. And I have a clip that did extremely well about why didn't she just endorse Bernie in 2016, and
I might have missed that.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. We have 20,000 videos, but you're not wrong. I think that there's one counterpoint to the calculus, which is an interesting one, which is that Elizabeth Warren may be more likely to actually get more of her ideas done, even if they are less progressive. I've not evaluated that idea fully yet. I'm just kind of mentioning it.
Okay, well, that's perfect. I appreciate you answering. And then the last thing I just want to say is I really enjoyed your interview with Sam Harris. I'm a big fan of his, and I get pretty sick of his mischaracterization from other places. Like, I won't name them, but
All right. Yeah, no, I mean,
he
said stuff. He said a lot of stuff I didn't agree with, but I think overall it was listen, it's okay. People sometimes don't agree. We got along perfectly well. It was a conversation. He gave me 90 minutes of his time, and, with peace and love, we did it.
Right. Well, I mean, there's agreeing with somebody and then there's just calling them, Islamophobic just because you don't agree with them. So you didn't do that, and that was great.
Right.
All right, David. Well, thank you for taking my call. Have a great night.
All right. Very good. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And that is going to do it as far as the phone calls go. It has been a very, very long night. Let's do a raid. I hope people will come with me. Let's raid Pokimane. Let's actually do it and see what happens. Join me. Let's see if we can get a reaction. And I'm going to keep chugging water here. And it's going to be an incredible party. And we are almost ready to do it. Only 1,300 of you. It would be great if everybody, let's all go over there and take over Pokimane's channel and all of that stuff. Oh man, a lot of people furious with me for all sorts of different things. Listen, this was a more than 3-hour stream, and we did everything we could